his foreman, grumpy cowboy, Cash Rivers. I don't care how good he looks in his Wranglers and chaps. He's rude, he's growly, and he wants me gone. I'd fire him in a heartbeat, but I need this cowboy to teach me the ropes of running a ranch. We're enemies from the get-go, but turns out Cash is really good at this ranch thing. He's got strong hands and an intelligent mind. And let's just say everything really is bigger in Texas. Working alongside him leads to conversations beneath the stars. Throw in some cheek-to-cheek dancing at a local dive bar, and it all feels so right that I start to fall in love with the life on the ranch, and maybe with him too. But my stay in Hartsville is only temporary, and you know what they say about cowboys. They may break horses, but they also break hearts. If only Cash hadn't already lassoed mine. So, like I said, I gave this one 4 stars, and I really enjoyed it. And the song that I picked for Cash is Small Town Boy by Dustin Lynch. Okay. I had a really good reading month. I think everything I read was at least 3 stars and higher. Okay. So, the next book that I have here. So, the Cash is on Kindle Unlimited. So, I read that on my Kindle. Now, this one is also on Kindle Unlimited, but the audiobook is available, so I actually listened to it. And that is, what is going on here? There we go. That is Variation by Rebecca Yarros. And I gave Variation 4 stars. I'm unsure if I gave it 4.5 or 4, because on Fable you can rate in like quarter stars. This is the granny square that I made for Variation. Now, if you guys have been around for a while, you know that I love Rebecca Yarros. Her writing, I thoroughly enjoy it, so this was another winner for me. Okay, so this one says, elite ballerina Ali Russo is no stranger to pressure. With her mother's eyes always watching, perfection was expected, no matter the cost. But when an injury jeopardizes all she's sacrificed for, Ali returns to her summer home to heal and recover, but the memories she's tried to forget rush in and threaten to take her under. As Coast Guard rescue swimmer Hudson Ellis knows that hesitation can mean the difference between life and death. He's always prided himself on being in the right place at the right time. Especially when it came to Ali Russo, until the night he left for basic. After the biggest regret of his life, the secrets he keeps means he can never be with the one woman he wants more than his next breath. When Hudson's niece shows up to Allie's doorstep, desperate to find her birth mother, Allie finds herself in an unimaginable position. Allie and Hudson's past and present might be endlessly complicated. The thread that tied them to each other all of those years ago may have unraveled, but the truth could pull them back together, or drive them apart. 1 second, guys. Okay. So, I think, again, this was 4.5 stars. 4 will also say, before I read what this one's about, I actually liked this one better than Priest. So I listened to this one. I think I borrowed it from, I want to say from Hoopla. Don't mind my hair. My hair is a disaster today. Okay. I'm not a good man, and I've never pretended to be. I don't believe in the goodness. I don't believe in goodness or God or any happy ending that isn't paid for in advance. In fact, I've got my own personal holy trinity. In the name of money, sex, and Macallan 18. Amen. So when the gorgeous, brilliant Senny Iverson asks me to teach her about sex, I want to say yes. I really do. Unfortunately, there are several reasons to say no. Reasons that even a very bad man like myself can't ignore. One, she's my best friend's little sister. Two, she's too young for me. Like way too young. Three, she's a nun. Or about to be anyway. But I want her. I want her even with my best friend and God in the way. I want to teach her and touch her and love her. And I know that makes me something much worse than a very bad man. It makes me a sinner. So, this series follows the Bell brothers, I guess. So, the first one is Priest, and that follows Tyler and him being a priest. And then this is the brother. So, like I said, I gave this 4 stars, and this was definitely 5 chili peppers. But the storyline was really good. And for Sinner, I picked the song Locked Out of Heaven by Bruno Mars. Okay, so this next one, I have the physical copy, but not on me. I read the physical copy, but it's my book club. Me and my friends, we have a book club, and we decided to do like the traveling book, where you pick a book, you annotate it, and then you give it to the next person, and they annotate it, and so on. So, this was the first one for me that I did. So this was my pick. And we each picked a book to do. So, like, I picked my book, and the 3 other girls had their books they picked, and they all annotated theirs, and I annotated mine. And then we all got together. For like book club. And we went out book shopping, and got coffee and everything, and then we came back to my house, and one of us exchanged their book. The rest of us weren't done yet. Then within the next few days, the rest of us kind of exchanged books more. So my book that I had chosen is Funny Story by Emily Henry. She is another author that I love. I gave this one 5 stars. Her books are just, I would describe them as kind of more lighthearted. So they're like pretty quick to get through. This is the Granny Square for Funny Story. Now, let me read to you what Funny Story is about. Daphne always loved the way her fiancé Peter told their story, how they met on a blustery day, fell in love over an errand hat, and moved back to his lakeside hometown to begin their life together. He really was good at telling it. Right up until the moment he realized stars know so little about her that they have a running bet that she's either FBI or in witness protection. The roommates mainly avoid one another until one day, while drowning their sorrows, they form a tenuous friendship and a plan. If said plan also involves posting deliberately misleading photos of their summer adventures together, well, who could blame them? But it's all just for show, of course, because there's no way Daphne would actually start her next chapter by falling in love with her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex, right? Very, very, very good. And so I passed it on to one of my friends, and she finished it in a couple days. She really enjoyed it as well. So the song that I picked for Funny Story is Stay by Rihanna. Okay. The next book. Now this has been on my TBR for a hot minute. But it was finally available on Libby. And that is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. So this one, I believe I gave, I should say Funny Story was 5 stars, and I want to say either 3 or 4 chili peppers, somewhere around there. For The Unhoneymooners, this is the square that I made, the granny square, and I gave it about 3.5 stars, I believe. And 3 chili peppers, something around that. So, Olive is always unlucky in her career, in love, in, well, everything. Her identical twin sister Amy, on the other hand, is probably the luckiest person in the world. Her meet cute with her fiance is something out of romantic comedy. Gag. And she's managed to finance her entire wedding by winning a series of internet contests. Double gag. Worst of all, she's forcing Olive to spend the day with her sworn enemy, Ethan, who just happens to be the best man. Olive braces herself to get through 24 hours of wedding hell before she can return to her comfortable, unlucky life. But when the entire wedding party gets food poisoning from eating bad shellfish, the only people who aren't affected are Olive and Ethan, and now there's an all-expense-paid honeymoon in Hawaii up for grabs. Putting their mutual hatred aside for the sake of a free vacation, Olive and Ethan head for paradise, determined to avoid each other at all costs. But when Olive runs into her future boss, the little white lie she tells him is suddenly at risk to become a whole lot bigger. She and Ethan now have to pretend to be loving newlyweds. And her luck seems worse than ever, but the weird thing is that she doesn't mind playing pretend. In fact, she feels kind of lucky. So, I did the audiobook for this one. Didn't take me very long to get through. But it was pretty good. It was definitely not in like my top favorites, but it was still pretty good. So for The Unhoneymooners, the song I picked is 3 Nights by Dominic Fike. Okay, so this next one also has been on my DVR, not for years, this one's a couple months, but because it was so popular, I had to wait quite a while on Libby for it, and that is, sorry guys, The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. So anybody that used to watch like any of the family vloggers on YouTube, would know about the Frankie family. And years ago, I used to watch Ellie and Jared, who are related to the Frankie family. Unfortunately, there was some tragic things that happened a couple of years ago now. But this is the oldest daughter's story. So she wrote this. First, let me show you. This is the granny square that I made. And also, I want to say that the strength that the kids in this family has is incredible. Well, some of them are adults now, but to have gone through what they went through, and just they're, very strong individuals. So now the first thing I will say is I rated this one 5 stars, and not just because it's like a biography, right? But also because very well written. I listened to the audiobook and Sherry Frankie narrates it, and I finished it in less than 24 hours. Could not put this book down. So this one says, from the eldest daughter, Sherry Frankie, the shocking true story behind the viral 8 passengers family vlog, and the hidden abuse she suffered at the hands of her mother, and now, in the face of unimaginable pain, she found freedom and healing. Sherry Frankie's childhood was a constant battle for survival. Her mother, Ruby Frankie, enforced a severe moral code, while maintaining a facade of picture-perfect family for their wildly popular YouTube channel 8 Passengers, which documented the day-to-day life of raising 6 children for a staggering 2.5 million subscribers. But a darker truth lurked beneath the surface. Ruby's wholesome online persona masked a more tyrannical parenting style than anyone could have imagined. As the family's YouTube notoriety grew, so too did Ruby's delusions of righteousness, fueled by the sadistic influence of a relationship coach, Jody Hildebrandt. Together they implemented an inhumane and merciless disciplinary regime. Ruby and Jody were arrested in Utah in 2023 on multiple charges of aggravated child abuse. On that fateful day, Sherry shared a photo online of a police car outside their home. Her caption had one word: finally. For the first time, Sherry will reveal the disturbing truth behind 8 Passengers and her family's devastating involvement with Jody Hildebrandt's cultish life coaching program, Connections. No stone is left unturned as Sherry exposes the perils of influencer culture and shares for the first time her battle for truth and survival in the face of her mother's cruelty. Just a very incredible read. Very sad at times. But like I said, the strength, especially because it's telling from her perspective, her story, the strength of Sherry is incredible. So, to be respectful, I wasn't going to pick a song for it, right? Because it is a biography, it's not a fiction book. But I found a song that was very fitting that kept popping up in my head as I was reading this book, and so that book is Fight Song by Rachel Platten. But I thought that was kind of fitting. Okay, so the next book I had not intended to read until, hold on, let me close my Kindle because I don't need my Kindle now because these last 2 are physical books. Anyway, this last book I had not intended to read it quite yet. Was highly anticipating it, but finish it before I got too many spoilers. I read Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. So, this is the sixth book, I believe. Fifth book. It'll be the sixth movie. The sixth book in the Hunger Games series. The back says, when you've been set up to lose everything you love, what is there left to fight for? So first of all, how beautiful. Secondly, here's the granny square that I made for, I'm a mess today. That's the granny square I made for Sunrise on the Reaping. So, I was gonna just read the physical book, but I was scared that I was gonna get too many spoilers. So, I ended up listening to the audiobook. Now, I'll read to you what this one's about. When you've been set up to lose everything you love, what is there left to fight for? As the day dawns on the 50th annual Hunger Games, fear grips the districts of Banham. This year, in honor of the Quarter Quell, twice as many tributes will be taken from their homes. Back in District 12, Hamish Abernathy is trying not to think too hard about his chances. All he cares about is making it through the day and being with the girl he loves. When Hamish's name is called, he can feel all his dreams break. He's torn from his family and his love, shuttled to the capital with the 3 other District 12 tributes. A young friend who's nearly a sister to him, a compulsive odds maker, and the most stuck-up girl in town. As the games begin, Hamish understands he's been set up to fail, but there's something in him that wants to fight, and have that fight reverberate far beyond the deadly arena. I gave this one, I believe, 4.5 stars, something like that. And it was so good. And you get kind of a lot of things filled in with this one. I highly recommend that series. It is one of my all-time favorite book series. So for Sunrise on the Reaping, I picked the song Safe and Sound by Taylor Swift and Joy Williams. It used to be Taylor Swift and the Civil Wars, but then they did Taylor's version and they had the girl from the Civil Wars sing it too. But yeah, I just thought it was fitting. Okay, so the next and last book is another one of my book club books, another one of the annotating books. Oh, that's another thing. I did DNF a book this month. So my book club, not only do we have the books we're all annotating, but we pick a book that we also all read together, and we have our little club on Fable that we chat about it. So I DNF'd the book. It's called The Book of Azrael. I want to say it's by Amber V. Nicole. So we all put books in a jar and then we just draw one, and 2 out of the 4 of us have finished it already. I DNF'd it at 18%. The beginning was very interesting to me, but unfortunately my brain could not keep up with what was going on. So I decided that instead of trying to push through, that I would just DNF it, and then I asked one of my friends just to kind of give me a summary of what happened, so at least I knew what happened. But the flip side of that, 2 of the other girls, they really enjoyed it, and they'll continue the series because it's part of a series. So that's pretty cool that they really, really loved it so much. And also the other thing is, I am, I guess, newer to fantasy. I've read a few fantasy books, or romantasy, but I have a harder time with the world building an audiobook, so I was like, I'll just DNF it and have my friends tell me what happened. So anyway, that's the book idea enough. But this book, this one is one of the ones we're annotating together. So one of my other friends already annotated it, and then I got it, so I annotated it. And I will not say the author's name because I'm afraid that I will say it wrong, but I'll show it to you. That is Heavenly Bodies. This is the author's name right here. Heavenly Bodies. And you can see how much we annotated. And you guys know when I annotate a book, I heavily annotate a book. So, her color is the purple, and then the blue is mine. And the orange, the orange is actually my husband's tabs. Now, my husband's not reading all of these books with us, but there's kind of like an inside joke with all of my friends and him, so he agreed to kind of flip through and annotate in everybody's books. So everybody picked a number, so like he did one annotation in my book. For this friend, he's going to have 3, but I just finished it the other day and he hasn't had an opportunity to put the other 2 tabs in yet. So either he'll flip through the book and he'll find something to annotate, or the other thing is, if I find something that I think is interesting, or like I also fill him in on the story as well, then he'll use that and go annotate with that. So here is the granny square that I made for Heavenly Bodies. So this is the first book in this series as well. You know the most dangerous kind of villain, a woman with nothing left to lose. In a world ruled by the cruel and merciless stars, Alara has been cursed by fate. A prophecy promises she will fall for a star, but that it will kill them both. So when Ariette, also I apologize if I mispronounce any of the characters' names, Star of Wrath and War descends to wreak havoc on Alara's kingdom of night, she flees her home only to be captured by the neighboring Helios, kingdom of light, and falls straight into the arms of an enemy prince. Fearing that Ariette might turn his sights to Helios next, Prince Lorenzo is forced to train Alara as a weapon, one worthy of battling against the tyrannical reign of the stars. But there are shadows even within the kingdom of light, and they threaten to reveal the darkness in Lorenzo's past and the ancient magic that slumbers in Alara's veins. And with it all comes an undeniable star-crossed pull between Alara and Lorenzo that neither can seem to resist. So, this is another fantasy or romantasy, and it's, how did I describe it? I described it online as like Greek mythology meets astrology and enemies to lovers, which is all like a win for me. So that being said, 5 stars. Will be continuing this series, and has purple sprayed edges, very pretty. I think it was 5 stars, 4 chili peppers, something like that.